Good morning everyone. I am Nisreen and we are going to connect a phonetics session with Pranay. And so let's start with what do you mean by phonetics? Pranay, can you tell me what do you mean by phonetics?
Okay, now phonetics is just a scientific study of the speech sounds that emanate from a mouth.
Alright, what do we need for our speech sounds now? So for that we need to focus on the speech organs. So let's see the diagram we have here, which talks about the speech organs in our body. Here we see the organs of speech, which starts from the nasal tract, the hard palate, the alveolar ridge, lips, teeth, tongue ridge, the velic port on the other side, velum, soft, which is also known as soft palate, tongue, pharynx, glottis, vocal cords and vocal folds. So these are the organs of speech which we have in our mouth, and they are the interior organs. Alright. Now there are three systems in our body. The three main systems in our body are known as the respiratory system, the phonetory system and the articulatory system. Pranay, can you tell me what do you mean by the respiratory system?
Sure. The respiratory system, the flow of air from the lungs is controlled by the respiratory system. It helps in the flow of air. The muscles of the chest, they compress and they expand, and that directs the flow of air. And the windpipe, it helps us control the flow of air. So the lungs, the muscles of the chest and the windpipe, they comprise the respiratory system.
Then we have the phonetory system, which comprises of the larynx and the vocal cords. Further, the articulatory system, which comprises of the pharynx, the lips, the teeth ridge, the hard palate, the soft palate. As we saw, it is also known as the velum, the soft palate, the uvula and the tongue. These are the three main systems in our body which function to produce speech sounds. Now, we already know what phonetics is. Let's deal with phonology, from where the word comes. Phonetics, it is a scientific study of speech sounds, whereas phonology, it is a scientific study of speech sounds for a given language, for a particular language, not for all languages as such. Then, in the study of phonetics, we have phonemes. What do you mean by phonemes, Pranay?
Phonemes, the definition is they are the smallest distinctive sound unit. For example, cake and bake. The A and the E sound is what distincts both the words. So that's called the smallest distinctive sound unit.
Now Pranay gave us an example of cake and bake, which means the b sound in bake is there with the k sound. Now when only two sounds can be used in place of each other, but the meaning of the word changes. So cake is one example and bake is another example. The ake, the end part, the last part of the word remains the same, only the first sound changes. So from b it becomes k and k as b. That is a phoneme. Further, we have an allophone. What is an allophone? An allophone is smaller than a phoneme, but it deals with complementary distribution in a word. Now, allophones have allophonic variations. Pranay, can you give me an example of an allophone?
Okay, as we talked about the phonemes, it deals with a sound in two different words. But when you talk about an allophone, it will deal with one sound in two different words. For example, cake and scale. Cake, the k sound in cake, that is, it comes in the beginning, so it's aspirated. It's not called k, it's called k. So we pronounce it as cake. And when we talk about the pronunciation of the sound k in scale, the k sound comes medially. So that is different than when it comes initially. So we can talk about the same sound but in two different words. So that is known as allophonic variations.
Thank you, Pranay. Now further on, we move with the sounds in English. We majorly have two main sounds in English, known as the vowel sounds and the consonant sounds. Now what do you mean by consonant sounds and vowel sounds? First of all, we would just give you a definition for consonant sounds. Pranay, can you just read the definition given here?
Okay, the definition for a consonant sounds. The sounds which are produced with an obstruction and a certain degree of narrowing in the mouth and the pharynx, causing audible friction, are known as consonant sounds. Now what we deal here with the consonant sounds is that it has got passive and active articulators in the mouth which when they come in contact with each other, they produce different sounds.
Which means in consonant sounds there is an obstruction. While when we talk about vowel sounds, they are completely opposite of consonant sounds. There is no obstruction in the vowel sounds or narrowing of any degree at all. So whatever the definition Pranay gave for consonant sounds, the vowel sounds is completely opposite to that. Now this is the definition, and further on there are three ways of recognizing a consonant sound in a word. The three main ways is, first of all, you need to know whether the sound is a voiced sound or a voiceless sound. How do you know that? For that you need to focus on the vocal cords. The vocal cords are in your throat. How do you know the vibration and if they do not vibrate, it's a voiceless. So Pranay, in detail, just put light on how do you know whether a sound is a voiceless sound or a voiced sound.
Okay, whether a sound is voiced or voiceless depends on the vocal cords. When the vocal cords vibrate, it's called a voiced sound, and when the vocal cords do not vibrate, it's called a voiceless sounds. You can get to know this by putting your fingers here on the throat, and I'll just give you an example of a voiced sound. The voiced sound is Z. When you put your fingers here and you pronounce the word Z, there's a vibration here that you'll feel. It's just a slight hum, but you'll have to feel it, okay? And when you give an example of a voiceless sound, you can just, for an example, sir, the sound sir, when you put your fingers here and you pronounce the sound sir, there'll be no vibration. So the sound sir is called a voiceless sound, and Z is called a voiced sound.
To know more about it, you make the hissing sound with sir, which is like s, and you make a buzzing sound with z, which is z. So when you say s, you feel that there is not much vibration, and that is why sir is a voiceless sound. But z, when you do the buzzing sound, which is z, that is when there is a little bit of vibration there, from which you know that z is a voiced sound. Further, the second way to know if there is a consonant sound in a word or not is the place of articulation. Now, the definition of the place of articulation is the interaction of the passive articulators with the active articulators tells us the place from where and how the sound can be produced. Pranay has already talked about the active articulators and the passive articulators. Now, when they both meet, when there is an interaction between the active articulators and the passive articulators, that is when you know which place is the sound from where the sound is produced, and that is known as place of articulation. Now, the third thing is the manner of articulation. The manner of articulation tells us how the sound is produced. Pranay, tell me more about the manner of articulation.
Okay. The manner of articulation is decided by the place of articulation itself. When we talk about the active and the passive articulators, for example, the tongue and the teeth ridge, then we get the place of articulation, which is called the alveolar sound. But then the manner of articulation is in which manner does the tongue raise and reach the teeth ridge, and that is called the manner of articulation. There are different types of manners which we'll deal with later on.
So those are the consonant sounds and the different ways of how a consonant sound is produced. Just in brief, let's know how a consonant sound is produced. First of all, you need to know whether the sound is a voiced sound or a voiceless sound, and that is known through the vocal cords. Then you deal with the place of articulation, from where the sound is produced. And then is the manner of articulation, how the sound is produced. Let's talk more about the place of articulation. For the manner of articulation, an extensive study needs to be done. But there are basically 9 places of articulation, which we will explain in detail and tell you how you know that that particular sound is bilabial or labiodental, etc. So let's deal with the bilabial sounds first. Bilabial sounds are those sounds where two lips interact with each other for the production of bilabial sounds. The example of bilabial sounds are p, b, m. Now m is a nasal sound as well. That's the manner of articulation. So m, instead of saying m, we'll say as it is a nasal sound. And the last sound is w. These are the 4 examples of bilabial sounds, which is the place of articulation. Pranay, just briefly give me the words, examples like starting with p, b, m, and w.
Okay, any words that start, the initial sound should be p, b, m, or w. For example, pot, ball, mall, or world. That's the difference between v and w. We'll talk about v in a short time. That is a dental sound. So here we're talking about w. So for example, world. Whenever the two lips, the upper lip and the lower lip meet, that's called a bilabial sound. Bi means two and labial means lips. So that's a literal translation of the meaning.
So as Pranay talked about w and v, w is a bilabial sound because that's when the interaction is done with two lips, whereas v is a labiodental sound because there you have the production with the lower lip and the upper teeth. So the second the second place of articulation is known as labiodental, where we deal with the V sound. So you know the difference between W and V, which is W and V. So labiodental sounds are those where the interaction is between the lower lip and the upper teeth. Those are the two articulators, and the two sounds falling in the labiodental category is F and V. The examples for words I would give: F as in fan, V as in van. V is the V sound here. Further, we have dental sounds. Now what are dental sounds? Dental has the articulators as the tip of the tongue and the upper teeth. So th and the are dental sounds. It's not the way we pronounce th in Gujarati, but it is th and the as it is in English. Pranay, give me a definition with both the sounds, th and the.
Okay, when we say th, the tongue, that the tip of the tongue should come and connect with the teeth, the upper teeth. So it will not pronounce it as thank you, but it will be thank you. It's not th, it's th. And when we talk about the, we are used to saying it the because of the influence of the mother tongue, but it's not the. We have to put our tongue in between the teeth. That is, it will pronounce like the.
So second example, like instead of, let's not deal with the all the time. So the can be this. You know, the sound the can also be used in the word this, and that is a dental sound. Further, we have alveolar sounds. Now what are alveolar sounds? The active articulator is the blade and the tip of the tongue, and the passive articulator is the teeth ridge. So Pranay has already talked about the active and the passive articulators. In alveolar sounds, the active articulator is the blade and the tip of the tongue, whereas the passive articulator is the teeth ridge. The examples of the alveolar sounds are t, d. N is again a nasal sound, so as it was in m, you don't say m, you say m. Similarly, n will not be n, it will be n. L, s, and z. Pranay, examples for all. You're going to be my example man.
Okay. When alveolar sound, what we need to understand when we talk about active and passive articulators is that all the parts in the lower jaw, all of them are the active articulators because only the lower jaw can move, and we include the tongue in the active articulators. Now, talking about the examples of the alveolar sound, the active articular is the blade of the tongue and the tip of the tongue, and the passive articulator is the teeth ridge. The teeth ridge is a part which is just above your upper teeth. You can feel it by putting your tongue there. And we talked about the words that are t, d, n, l, s, and z. We'll give an example for each. For t, you can say tired. D, it will be a duck. N is no. L is lit. S will be
slow.
Will be slow. Yeah, thank you. And Z will be like a zoo.
All
okay?
right. So those all are the alveolar sounds. It doesn't really matter that you have to begin with these sounds. In the whole word, if t, d, n, l, s, z come, those are the sounds still known as the alveolar sounds. We're just giving examples with words starting with that particular sound. The next sound, the next place of articulation is post-alveolar sound. Now in the post-alveolar sound, you have the tip of the tongue and the rear part of the teeth ridge, which produce a post-alveolar sound. Pranay has already explained what a teeth ridge is. I think a teeth ridge is real hard as well. So, when you put your tongue up above, you know that is the teeth ridge. In English, there are not many post-alveolar sounds. In fact, I will say it is only r, only one sound, which is known as a post-alveolar sound. Pranay, give me a word from r.
Okay, r is really complicated because r is pronounced differently in British English as well as American English. We'll talk about the retroflex sound that occurs only in the American English. That is the r which is rolled. Okay, and the British accent, the r, we can say any word like a river or ran or a ring. Any example can be used, but then we don't need to roll the R sound in British, that is standard English. The R sound is rolled only in American English, and that is the next sound that is called a retroflex sounds, and Nisreen will talk about that.
So when you, for example, both our names have R. Nisreen also has R, Pranay's name also has R. So if I say my name in American English, it'll be Nisreen, and that is a retroflex sound. And if we say Pranay's name in American English, it'll be Pranay. The way we say here we say is Pranay, Nisreen. But in American English, it's Nisreen and Pranay, where the R is rolled, and that is when we get a retroflex sound. Now, what is a retroflex sound? The definition of a retroflex sound is where the underside of the tip of the tongue and the front of the hard palate are the articulators which produce a retroflex sound. Now, the R in British English is not a retroflex sound. That is a post-alveolar sound, which we've already talked about. But the R in American English is the retroflex sound, as I gave the examples of our names that tells you about the retroflex sound. The next sound is the palato-alveolar sound. This sound is produced by two simultaneous sounds together. The first one is when your blade of the tongue and the teeth ridge interact. And the second one is where the front of the tongue and the hard palate interact. These two ways produce a palato-alveolar sound. And the examples of these sounds are ch, y, sh and j. Y is represented by the alphabet J, but that doesn't mean that it is pronounced as j. The pronunciation is y. So the four palato-alveolar sounds are ch, y, sh and j. Pranay, examples for all the four sounds.
Okay. The sounds that we talked about in the palato-alveolar section are ch, y, sh and j. Now there's a difference in the word y. It's written as the English word J, but we'll talk about that. It's called a semivowel, and we'll talk about the vowel sound later on. So I'll just give an example of each word. Ch is you can say in chair. Y is when you say yes. Sh is when you talk about a shirt, and j is the last sound in a garage. You don't say it's a garage. It's not a j sound. It's the j sound. You can say it's a garage.
And I think even treasure also has the sound j. So treasure is also a word. Like in the end, when you say jur, that is a j sound, which is treasure. Further, we have the palatal sound. Now, what is a palatal sound? The front of the tongue articulates with the hard palate for a palatal sound. This is the definition of a palatal sound. Y is a palatal sound. It's written as J, but this is just simple for you to understand that the letter Y in English, we usually, when used in words, we say it as Y, and that is why it's written Y here. Usually, it's written as J, and the pronunciation is Y, but not J. But just to make it simple, here we've written Y. A sound example for Y is yes, that is a palatal sound. Then we deal with velar sounds. Velar, we remember what we did about velum. Velum is the soft palate. So what is a velar sound? The active articulator is the back of the tongue, and the passive articulator is the soft palate. Remember, we did what a soft palate was. This sound is simple to remember because the soft palate is also known as a velum, and that is how you know with the velum you can produce a velar sound. So here is the velar sound, and the example of these sounds are k, g and ng. Ng is again a nasal sound as n, and those three are the only sounds which are velar sounds in English. The examples of velar sounds, Pranay.
Okay. Now, from now on, we'll be talking about the sounds that occur from the back of the tongue. Velar, ovular, and glottal. They all deal with the part of the tongue that is at the back. Okay. And in the velar sound, the active articulator is the back of the tongue, and the passive articulator is a soft palate that is above the hard palate. K, g, and ng are the velar sounds. For example, k in kite, g. And it can be anything. It can be the initial word, the beginning, or the end. But that will be like a goat. And ng, it always occurs at the end. For example, ring or sing or bang, whatever you can say. So these are the velar sounds which occur at the back of the tongue.
So now we deal with ovular sounds. What are ovular sounds? The back of the tongue and the uvula produce uvular sounds. But there are no uvular sounds in English. So, there is not much to talk about in ovular sounds. Further, we have glottal sounds. Now, what is a glottal sound? A narrowing which causes friction between the two vocal cords. We remember we put our finger on the throat to know whether our vocal cords vibrate or not in order to know whether the sound is a voiced sound or a voiceless sound. That is where our vocal cords is right here. And so a glottal sound deals with the vocal cords. and it is produced through that. So a narrowing causing friction between the two vocal cords that produces a glottal sound. H is the only sound in English which is a glottal sound. The example for H is hat, maybe. Yeah, hat is a glottal sound. The initial sound H in hat is known as a glottal sound. Right?
Yeah, sure.
Now we deal with manner of articulation. This is the third part of knowing whether it is a consonant sound or not. We remember we did two things. To know whether the sound is a voiceless sound or a voiced sound, you need to focus on the vocal cords. The second thing is the place of articulation, where the sound is produced. And the last thing is the manner of articulation, how the sound is produced. For this, to know the manner of articulation, you need to go in depth to know how the sound is produced for the manner of articulation. There are 10 manners of articulation which are known as plosives, affricates, nasals, roll or trill, tap, flap, lateral, fricative, frictionless continuant, and semivowels. Let's just give one example. We've already talked about nasals. I just said that and are nasal sounds. The sounds produced from the nose side, those are nasal sounds. Lateral is easy to remember because L is a lateral sound. And Pranay talked about semivowels, which was W. And so these are the 10 manners of articulation. Pranay, can you just in brief tell me what is a plosive?
Okay, when we talk about a plosive sound, the name itself suggests what it is. It explodes. When we talk about the respiratory system, it induces a flow it induces a flow of air. Okay, and when we talk about the bilabial sounds, the active and the passive articulator, that is the upper lip and the lower lip, they close. Okay, and the flow of air is obstructed behind the lips when we talk about a word like pot. Okay, so first of all, to pronounce po, you need to articulate between the lower lip and the upper lip, so it will be like, and then to release the O and T, you need to induce a flow of air, so the air is obstructed behind the lips. Okay, and then when you pronounce the O and T, that is a pot. So the flow of air, it explodes with a certain effect, and that is how you get a plosive sound. P, for example, P, B, M. No, M is, I'm so sorry.
That's a nasal sound. That's
okay,
alright. So the plosive sounds are P, B, T, D,
K,
K,
and
G.
G.
Those are the 6 plosive sounds in English. We have affricates, which are Ch and J. You have a transcription later on, but I can tell you what can Ch and J be written as. CH can be known as Ch, and J will be, I think, DJ. That's the transcription, which is the affricate. Now nasals are and ng. There are no sounds, roll or trill sounds in British English particularly. No tap, no flap, but lateral sounds are L. Then we have fricatives, which are F, V, Th, D, S, Z, Sh, J, and frictionless continuant, which is only R. There's no other sound which is a frictionless continuant other than R. And the last we have a semivowel, which is W and Y. This consists of all the 24 sounds we have, which are the consonant sounds. They are, they are classified into different manner of articulation, but to know which manner of articulation they fall in, a detailed study is necessary. But as I just gave you the sound example for falling in different categories, those are known as that particular sound. Now we deal with vowel sounds. Now what is a vowel sound? The complete opposite of a consonant sound. Again, as we have 3 ways of knowing a consonant sound, similarly we have 3 ways of knowing a vowel sound. But before that, I would like to tell you the 4 characteristics of a vowel sound, which is very important. The 4 characteristics of a vowel sound is that those sounds are always oral. They are voiced sounds, and the tip of the tongue is held low and some other part is raised, and they are produced with free flow of air. Like in consonant sounds, we saw that there is a narrowing or an obstruction in producing a consonant sound. It is not so in a vowel sound. It is with free flow of air. So the 4 characteristics are: they are oral sounds, they are voiced, they are produced with free flow of air, the tip of the tongue is held low, and some other part is raised. Now the three different ways of knowing a vowel sound are the part of the tongue raised, which means it tells us which part of the tongue is raised. the front part, the back part, or the central part, by which we will distinguish that particular vowel sound into a front vowel, back vowel, and a central vowel. Then the second thing we have is the height of the tongue raised. Pranay, can you explain the height, or read the definition, the height of the tongue?
Okay, the height of the tongue raised. This tells you that the produced vowel sound is from what position. Now we need to classify the tongue into 4 parts. That is, close when it touches the upper part, behind the upper teeth, half close, half open, or between any of these positions, like between close and half close, or between half close and half open, any positions. But we can derive the definition, the 3-term definition of a vowel, depending on which part is raised and how much it is raised.
So we dealt with the 2 parts, which talks about the part of the tongue raised, which part, front, back, central, and the height of the tongue raised, which tells you if it is a closed sound, half close, half open, open, or between close and half close, between half close and half open, or between half open and open. Now the third part talks about the shape of the lips. This deals with, you just have to look at your lips. You know, I would suggest when you are talking about vowel sounds and using them as examples, stand in front of a mirror where you can see the shape of the lips. This will tell us whether the produced sound is with rounded lips, spread lips, or neutral lips. These are the 3 ways of identifying a vowel sound, and a detailed study is again necessary to know in detail about whether that particular sound is, you know, a front sound or a central sound or a back vowel, and the height of the tongue, where, in what area is that particular sound produced. And when you look in the mirror, you know whether your lips are round, spread, or neutral to know the shape of the lips. Just in brief again, 2 kinds of sounds in English: consonant sounds, vowel sounds. Consonant sounds caused with an obstruction, vowel sounds without an obstruction. 3 ways of knowing a consonant sound: using the vocal cords to know whether they are voiced or voiceless, the place of articulation, where the consonant sound is produced, and the manner of articulation, how the sound is produced. The vowel sounds, complete opposite of consonant sounds, produced with free flow of air, no obstruction or narrowing of any sort. And the 3 things, Pranay, tell me what the 3 things are.
Okay, the vowel sounds, it depends on the part of the tongue raised, the height of the tongue raised, and the shape of the lips, which you can easily identify when you stand in front of the mirror. Now there are three types of sounds when you talk about vowel sounds. When you stand in front of a mirror, you will notice 3 parts. It will be either rounded, it will be neutral, or it will be spread. For example, when you talk about a rounded part, you can talk about the vowel oo. When you speak oo, the shape of the lips is rounded. The spread part is when you speak e, it's spread. And you talk about the vowel a or a, the shape of the lip is neutral. So that will discuss about the shape of the lips.
Now we have also diphthongs, which indirectly fall in the category of vowels because it consists of a vowel sound. What is a diphthong? The simple definition of a diphthong is formed with only 1 syllable, and the tongue glides from one vowel sound to the other while the production of a diphthong. Why do I say that diphthongs fall in the category of a vowel sound? Because it has a vowel sound, but it's like 2 sounds. If from one particular vowel sound it moves to the other, and that is why a diphthong is also known as a vowel glide. From one vowel sound to the other vowel sound is a glide without any stop in between. So it is only 1 syllable. What is a syllable? Let's say if I take the word bat, bat is only bat. You do not have any other syllable in it, so it is only 1 syllable, bat. But if I take the word, let's say computer, computer, you feel your lower jaw, it goes down 3 times, computer. That is when you know that the word computer has 3 syllables in it. So similarly, in a diphthong, there are 2 vowel sounds, and it's not like the jaw goes down, it's just in a simple fashion, and that is why it is only 1 sound. But it is a vowel sound, and it is so that 2 vowel sounds make it a diphthong, and that is why diphthong is known as a vowel glide. Now we see the word lie. Lie has a diphthong while producing the last sound of the word. L is the lateral sound which we already studied, which is a consonant. I is a diphthong. A and y are both A and E are both vowel sounds, but they are not used in different syllables. They are used in the same syllable, and that is why they are known as a diphthong. So I here, the last sound of the word lie is a diphthong. Right, Pranay?
Yes, sure.
And diphthongs are also known as vowel glides, as I already told. Now we have transcription of consonant sounds. Transcription is something which you will see in the dictionary. To know correct pronunciation, to know whether you are pronouncing the word correctly or not, you have transcription of consonant sounds, which is like this. For the sound b, here the example is given bad, but the initial sound we take b. How do you write b is the same way you write in the lower case alphabets. You write b to represent the sound b in the word bad. Then we have find, the word find, which has the first sound, the first consonantal sound, which is written in the same fashion as it is written in the lowercase alphabet f. Then you have the word how, which is her, the first initial sound her. It is written again in the same fashion as h, how you write in the lowercase alphabets. Then you have the word cat, but it is here the spelling is C-A-T, but the pronunciation is k. You don't say, if you say as an alphabet you say C, but you don't say sat, that will be S-A-T. So here you say cat and the pronunciation is k. That is why you have the symbol as K, which again you know how we use in the lowercase alphabet. That is the symbol for cat. Then you have man. The initial letter m represents the sound the nasal sound, and you write it in the same fashion as written in the word M in the lowercase alphabets. Then you have the word sing. Pranay already told that ing sounds are used only in the last half of the word, like the end part of the word, sing, bing, things like that. So here the example we have it as sing, and ung, like ing, is represented by this sound here. Then you have red, r, which is again written in the same way as you write in lowercase alphabets R. Then you have she. Here is the sound sh, which gives you the sound sh. The letters sh give you the sound sh, and this is how it is written. Then you have the word check. So we take the first sound ch, ch, and that is how this is written in the transcription. Then we have this th, and you see the transcription just on the left how it is written, then we have the word wet, w, which is pronounced using the two lips, so it is w, different from v, and so it's written in the same way as we write the lowercase alphabets w. Then we have pleasure, j, you see sur, the word pleasure has the letters sur, which give the sound j, and this is how j is written. It's more or like the same way the way in which we write in cursive. The lowercase in cursive handwriting gives you the sound j. Now we have more words on our right, which Pranay will explain. Pranay, here it is.
Okay, now we'll talk about the word D. For example, we have the word did here, and the sound that occurs initially is the d sound. So the transcription for it is written on the left side. That's the same as the word D. Then we go to give. The first sound is g, and the transcription is the same as the word give, the G. Now we already talked about the y part, that is semivowel. The yes, the Y is represented not by a Y in alphabets, but it's represented by a J. Okay. Leg is the same as L. The transcription is on the left hand side. No, the N sound is represented by N, the alphabet. Pet, the sound P is represented by the word P. Sun, the sound S is represented by S itself. T, the same, the sound T is represented by the alphabet T. Now think, that is different. T and H is represented by the sign that is besides it on the left hand side. The sign. It's
like a circle and just a line in between.
Okay. And the sound, the word voice, that's different from, as Nisreen already told, the wet and voice. There's a difference between them. When you talk about W, we have a bilabial sound, that is W, And when we talk about V, that is dental.
Labiodental.
I'm so sorry. That's voice, and that is represented by the same as V in alphabets. Zoo. We talk about the word zoo. It's different from the word pleasure. Okay. The alphabet that is used for j is the uppercase, I guess.
Is the lowercase of the cursive handwriting j, where in zoo you have z, which is the capitals. How you write z in capitals, but you don't write that big, obviously. It's a small z which represents z in zoo. And then the last one we have just, which is j here, the first letter j, which produces the sound j. It's written with like d and the letter we have in j, that makes j. So these are the 24 consonant sounds with their transcription: p, f, h, k, ng, r, sh, ch, d, v, j. And on the other side, on my right, is d, g, y, l, n, p, s, t, th, v, z, and j. Now let's have a look on vowel sounds. We have 20 vowel sounds. Consonant sounds, 24 consonant sounds is already dealt with. Now we deal with 20 vowel sounds and their transcription. How does that look as? We have the word cup. The sound, now first of all let me tell you the difference between vowel letters and vowel sounds. A, E, I, O, U are the 6 vowel letters, but sounds are those when you have these letters the way you pronounce them. And that is why instead of 6 vowel letters, you have 20 vowels. So when you look at the word cup, U is a vowel sound, a vowel letter. But when you pronounce the word cup, the sound between k and p makes the sound which is given on your left. The transcription shows you that. Then the next word we have cat. A is a vowel sound and the transcription is again on your left. Away is the initial sound of a. This is how it is written. I would say it's E twisted. That is how you write the transcription of a. Then you have hit. It's just I, the capital I written in small. So that is the transcription. Then you have hot. The sound o between her and t is how this is written. Put. The sound between p and t represents the sound, the transcription on the left. Then we have 5. 5 has I, which is a diphthong, and this is how the diphthong is written. It glides from one sound to the other. Then we have the word say. A is again a diphthong, and this is how it is written. Boy, oi, the vowel sound is here. Near, ear, the middle sound between n and r. R is not that evident anyway, but it's between n and r, and this is how it is written, ear. Now on the right, Pranay will do it.
Okay, as you see, there's a colon behind each word. There's A, O, E, and U. The colon suggests that it's pronounced longer than the usual sound. We cannot say it's okay. When you look at the first example, it's arm. It's not arm. It's arm. Okay. The colon suggests that you have to elongate the vowel that is in front. So A and a colon is a long A. Okay. When you talk about a met, the E is written as it is, met as you can see on the board. Now turn. Now this is a. We talked about as we talked about in a cup, that is a is the same as it, but it's a longer word. So we used, it's not a turn, it's a turn. Okay. Now the longer E is the same in alphabets, E, I. So we'll use the example as C. It's not C, it's C. Okay. There's a difference between S-E-double-E and S-E-A. If you talk about a C, that is E-A, that will be a C. And when we want to elongate it, it will be like a C.
So in S-E-A, the transcription for E will be on the other side as it is given in hit. But in S-E-E, the transcription will be what Pranay is talking about.
It's a long E. That's the same. We'll talk about the next vowel sound, that's a call. It's the same as O, but it's just longer. We can't say it's a call, it's a call. Okay. Blue, it deals with the sound U. That is, we cannot say it's blue, we can say it's blue. Okay. You can just see that wherever there's a colon, you just have to elongate the vowel that's in the word. Okay. And now, it's a vowel glide. It's the word O and W. They represent A and U. Okay. So now will be now, as you can see in the on the board. Go. Now there's a difference. It's not only go. It's not we cannot use only the word O. It will be go. Okay. So we have to use O and U along with it. It's go, not go. It's go. When we talk about the word where, E and R and E. The R is almost silent here, but then E and A. So where, okay? So that's like a diphthong. It glides from A to A. Okay. The next word is again a vowel glide. That's pure. The R is again not pronounced as prominently as the vowels. So it will be U gliding to A. So it will be pure. Okay.
So now 12 sounds which are vowel sounds and 8 sounds which are diphthongs. As we see the transcription here, you have, let's say, the 6 initial sounds on the left and the right, which are the vowel sounds, and the bottom 4 sounds on each side are the diphthongs. So in total, the 6 sounds on my side and the 6 sounds on the other side make 12 sounds, which are 12 vowel sounds, and the bottom 4 on my side and the other side make 8 sounds, which are the diphthongs. So basically 20 vowel sounds, but 12 vowel sounds exactly as vowel sounds, and 8 diphthongs known as vowel glides as well. Alright, now back to syllable. We already discussed, I gave you an example of what a syllable is. But to extend, we have a definition here which says units of sounds are known as syllables. A syllable is defined from a sound produced and not on the way the word is spelt. It may be spelled in different ways, but the pronunciation is different as well, and that is what a syllable is. Pranay, can you tell me what a syllable stress is?
Okay, as Nisreen already told that a syllable is when you have to, for example, the technique that she showed was that the jaw moves according to how many syllables there are in a word. Now the stress is, there is a primary stress and secondary stress, but we'll deal only with the primary one. I'll just read out, okay, from a particular word, one syllable is emphasized and that syllable holds a prominent position. So in a whole word, for example, computer, there are 3 syllables in it, but what we stress on is the word C, that is the initial word, that's a computer, okay? So the syllable stress in that word will be on the first syllable, that is C-O-M, okay? The syllable will also have a vowel sound that is prolonged, and that is on a syllable stress. We talked about the words in which the vowels are prolonged, which have a colon behind them. Normally or usually, the syllable which is emphasized in a word, that will have a prolonged vowel.
And so computer, in let's say computer, but K will have the K transcription because the spelling has C, but the pronunciation is K, and that is why the primary accent, the primary stress will be on K, and it will be computer. So here the first syllable come will have the prolonged vowel. Come, you don't say computer, you say computer. That is what a syllable stress is. I would just like to give in brief the 3-term definition of a consonant sound. We have P, which is a voiceless bilabial plosive sound. B, voiced bilabial plosive. T, voiceless alveolar plosive. D, voiced alveolar plosive. K, voiceless velar plosive. G, voiced velar plosive. Pranay, please do the next.
Okay, the ch, we talked about the example chair. It's a voiceless palato-alveolar effricate. The j sound, as in a garage, voiced palato-alveolar and effricate. M, as in the sound, voiceless, bilabial and nasal. N, that is the sound, voiced, alveolar and nasal. The sound, example ring, rang, that's a voiced, velar and nasal sound. The E sound, okay, I'm so sorry. The L sound, it's a voiced, alveolar and lateral sound.
And the 3-term definition, I have not given all the sounds, but it's just like 4 sounds. For E, the elongated E, it is a front close vowel and the lips are unrounded spread. The E, the one which is not elongated, not long, it is front half close and unrounded lips, spread lips. So front tells you which part of the tongue, half close tells you the height of the tongue, height of the sound where it is produced. And A, front between half close and half open position with the lips unrounded spread. And then the last one is just it's E, which is written upside down. So it is the front half open position with lips unrounded open. And there is only one definition of a diphthong which I have given here. The rest of the diphthongs, a detailed study needs to be done as to what is the three-term definition of a diphthong. Pranay, will you just read the example of a diphthong?
Okay, a diphthong is just when you use a diphthong, you just split the words. That is, we use an example here A. So you can just write the definition of A first of all, and then you just have to write that from A it moves to E. So you write the definition of A first, and then use the word from A to E. So here I'm reading it: from front just below half closed position to centralized front just above half closed position. So the front below half close is the A part, and to a centralized front just above half close is the E part. So the tongue moves from A to E, and the position of the lips remains unchanged in this diphthong. In other diphthongs, the position might change, and you have to write that as from unrounded spread to neutral as it goes.
So A, here you have the front and centralized, which talks about the part of the tongue. It is A is where the front part of the tongue is used. E is where the centralized part of the tongue is used. Then you have the half closed position, like from front just above half closed position. So just above half closed position tells you the height and of A. And then you have to centralized front just above half closed position again, which is, the first one was below half closed position where it talks about the height, and then the next one talks about above half closed position, which talks about E. And the position of the lips remain the same as it is, unchanged. From A to E it remains unrounded spread. In brief, what we talked about was syllable, syllable stress, consonants and vowels being two major sounds in English. What is a consonant sound? Where a narrowing and an obstruction takes place. What is a vowel sound? Complete opposite, where no narrowing, no obstruction takes place. Three different ways of knowing a consonant sound is through the vocal cords to know whether a word is a voiced sound or a voiceless sound. The second, place of articulation. The third, manner of articulation. And the last one, vowel sounds, the second sounds which we have in the English language. The three different ways of knowing a vowel sound is the shape of the lips, the part of the tongue raised, and the height of the tongue raised. Those are the three different definitions. We explained in detail the place of articulation of consonant sounds, which are 9 places of articulation: bilabial, labiodental, dental, alveolar, postalveolar, retroflex, palatoalveolar, palatal, velar, uvular, and glottal. And 10 manner of articulation, which are plosives, affricates, nasals, roll or trill, tap, flap, lateral, fricative, frictionless continuant, and semivowels. And we already dealt with how the vowels are produced, and which means the part of the tongue raised and the height of the tongue raised, which is known not when you stand in front of the mirror, but the shape of the lips talks about the way when you stand in front of the mirror and produce that particular sound, which has all the sounds have vowel sounds. In fact, all syllables have vowel sounds. So each syllable consists of one sound, and that is why a vowel sound is also known as the nucleus sound in a word, because all syllables have a vowel sound. So then the shape of the lips, when you produce that particular sound in front of the mirror, you know the shape of the lips. And then comes the diphthongs, which again fall in the category of vowel sounds. And so we have 8 diphthongs and 12 vowel sounds. Diphthongs are also known as vowel glides, which glide from one vowel sound to the other. And we saw the transcription of the consonant sounds, which is again like this. I'll keep it for some time. And then we have the vowel sounds, the transcription of the vowel sounds and diphthongs, which you see the letters, the pronunciation, the transcription on the left hand side. And that's about it. Thank you for today. I hope you enjoyed the session.